Hello, my friend. Welcome back. I'm Smith, and I'm so glad you're here with me today. Really glad. Take a deep breath with me right now. Breathe in and breathe out. Good. You're in a safe space, a space where we learn slowly, a space where we grow gently. And today we're going to talk about something truly special. We're going to explore the life of Abraham Lincoln. Yes, the life of Abraham Lincoln, a man who changed history, a man who started with nothing and became everything. And we're going to learn English together, slowly, calmly, with no pressure, just you and me. You know, learning English is not a race. It's not about being perfect. It's not about being fast. It's about being patient with yourself. It's about giving yourself permission to go slow, permission to make mistakes, permission to try again. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to walk together through the story of a man who never gave up, a man who failed again and again but kept going. And his name was Abraham Lincoln. Now, before we dive deep into his story, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt not good enough? Have you ever looked at your life and thought, I'm not where I should be? I'm not smart enough. I'm not successful enough. I'm not enough. If you felt that way, you're not alone. Abraham Lincoln felt that way too, many times, over and over. He was rejected. He was told no. He lost elections. He lost his business. He even lost people he loved. But he didn't stop. He kept walking, one step at a time, just like you're doing right now with your English. One word, one sentence, one day at a time. Let me tell you about his childhood. Abraham Lincoln was born on February 12th, 1809. That's more than 200 years ago. He was born in a tiny log cabin. A log cabin. That means a small house made of wood, made of logs. It was in Kentucky, a place called Hardin County. Now, this cabin was not comfortable. It was not warm in the winter. It was not cool in the summer. It was simple, very simple. His family was poor, very poor. They didn't have much money. They didn't have many things, but they had each other, and they had hope. Abraham's father was named Thomas Lincoln. His mother was named Nancy. She was kind, she was loving, and Abraham loved her very much. He also had an older sister named Sarah. They were a small family, a loving family. But life was hard, very hard. When Abraham was just a little boy, maybe 7 years old, his family had to move. They moved to Indiana, another state. They had to leave Kentucky because of problems with their land, problems with ownership. You see, sometimes in life, things don't go the way we plan. Sometimes we have to start over. And Abraham's family, they had to start over. In Indiana, they built another small cabin. They cleared the land. That means they cut down trees, they removed rocks, they made the ground ready for farming. And young Abraham, even though he was just a child, he had to work. He had to help his father. He used an axe. An axe is a tool, a heavy tool made of metal and wood. You swing it to cut trees. And Abraham, he became very good with an axe. He was strong, but he was also gentle. He didn't like hunting. He didn't like killing animals. He was sensitive. He felt things deeply, just like many of us do. But then, something terrible happened. When Abraham was only 9 years old, his mother died. Nancy Lincoln died. She died from something called milk sickness. It was a disease, a sickness that people got from drinking milk from cows that had eaten poisonous plants. And there was no cure, no medicine. She got sick, and she died. And Abraham, he was heartbroken. Heartbroken means your heart feels broken. It feels like it's been shattered into pieces. He loved his mother so much, and now she was gone. He stood by her grave. A grave is the place where someone is buried after they die, and he cried. He felt lost. He felt alone. He felt like his world had ended. Have you ever lost someone you love? Have you ever felt that deep sadness, that pain that doesn't go away quickly? If you have, then you understand how Abraham felt. Grief is heavy. Grief means the deep sadness we feel when we lose someone. And grief doesn't follow a schedule. It doesn't disappear in a day or a week or even a year. It stays with us. It becomes part of us. And Abraham Lincoln, he carried that grief for his entire life. But he didn't let it stop him. He let it shape him. He let it teach him compassion. Compassion means caring deeply about others, feeling their pain, wanting to help them. And Abraham Lincoln, he became one of the most compassionate leaders in history. After his mother died, his father remarried. Remarried means he married again. He married a woman named Sarah Bush Johnston. She was a widow. A widow is a woman whose husband has died. And she had 3 children of her own. So suddenly, Abraham had a stepmother and stepbrothers and stepsisters. And you know what? Sarah, his stepmother, she was wonderful. She was kind to Abraham. She encouraged him. She saw something special in him. She saw that he loved to read. He loved to learn. And even though they were poor, even though books were rare and expensive, she supported him. She told him to keep reading, keep learning, keep growing. And Abraham, he read everything he could find. He walked miles, many miles, just to borrow a book. Miles means a long distance. 1 mile is about 1.6 kilometers. And he would walk 5 miles, 10 miles, just to get a book from a neighbor. He read by candlelight. Candlelight means the light from a candle, a small flame, not bright like electric light, just a tiny flame. And he would read late into the night. He read about George Washington. He read about Benjamin Franklin. He read the Bible. He read books about law and history. And with every page, with every word, he was building his mind. He was educating himself. Because Abraham, he only went to school for about 1 year total. Just 1 year, in small pieces. A few weeks here, a few months there, that's all. Everything else, he taught himself. Think about that for a moment. 1 year of school. And yet, he became one of the most eloquent speakers in American history. Eloquent means speaking beautifully, speaking clearly, using words in a powerful way. How did he do it? He did it by reading, by practicing, by never giving up. And you're doing the same thing right now. You're learning, you're practicing, you're growing. And it doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter if you feel slow sometimes. What matters is that you keep going, just like Abraham did. When Abraham became a young man, he had to work many jobs. He worked as a farmhand. A farmhand is someone who helps on a farm. He planted crops, he harvested corn, he fed animals. He worked as a store clerk. A clerk is someone who helps customers in a store. He sold goods, he talked to people, he learned how to communicate, how to listen, how to understand what people needed. He also worked on a riverboat. A riverboat is a boat that travels on rivers. He helped transport goods down the Mississippi River. That's a huge river in America, very long, very wide. And during these journeys, these trips, he saw something that changed him forever. He saw slavery. Slavery. Let me explain this word carefully because it's important. Slavery means owning another human being, treating a person like property, like an object, like something you can buy and sell. In America at that time, there were millions of black people who were enslaved. They were forced to work without pay, without freedom. They were beaten. They were separated from their families. They were treated horribly. And when Abraham saw this,
when he saw human beings in chains, when he saw families torn apart, something broke inside him, and something else was born, a fire, a determination, a belief that this was wrong, deeply, terribly wrong, and someday, somehow, he would do something about it. But Abraham didn't become president immediately. No, he had a long, difficult journey ahead of him. He decided to study law. Law means the rules that govern society, the system of justice. But he didn't go to law school. Remember, he had almost no formal education. So he borrowed law books, he read them, he studied them, he taught himself. And in 1836, he became a lawyer. A lawyer is someone who helps people with legal problems, someone who argues cases in court. And Abraham was good at it. He was honest. Honest means telling the truth, not lying, not cheating. And people trusted him. They called him Honest Abe. Abe is a short form of Abraham, a nickname, a friendly name.
Then, in 1860, something amazing happened. Abraham Lincoln was nominated to run for president. Nominated means chosen by his political party to be their candidate. And against all odds, against all expectations, he won. He became the 16th president of the United States, a boy who grew up in a log cabin, a boy who had less than 1 year of school, a man who had failed so many times. He became president. But this victory, it came with an enormous challenge. Enormous means huge, very, very big. Because as soon as he was elected, before he even took office, Southern states began to secede. Secede means to leave, to break away. They didn't want Abraham Lincoln as their president. They wanted to keep slavery, and they were willing to fight for it. And so the Civil War began. The Civil War. Civil means relating to citizens within a country. So a civil war is a war within one country. Americans fighting Americans. Brothers fighting brothers. It was the bloodiest war in American history. Bloodiest means with the most deaths. More than 600,000 people died. Can you imagine? 600,000 lives lost. And Abraham Lincoln, he had to lead the country through this nightmare. He had to make impossible decisions. He couldn't sleep. He lost weight. He looked older and older. The stress, the pressure, the weight of all those deaths, it crushed him. And yet, he kept going. Let me tell you a story, a deep story, a moment that shows you who Abraham Lincoln really was. It was 1862. The war had been going on for over a year, and Abraham had written something called the Emancipation Proclamation. Emancipation means freedom, liberation. Proclamation means an official announcement. So the Emancipation Proclamation was an official announcement that enslaved people in the rebelling states would be free. But Abraham, he waited. He waited for the right moment to announce it. He knew that timing mattered. He knew that he needed a Union victory first. A Union victory means the North winning a battle. Because if he announced it while losing, people would see it as desperation. But if he announced it after a victory, it would look like strength. Finally, in September 1862, there was a battle at Antietam. Antietam, that's a place in Maryland. And the Union forces won. Not a huge victory, not a perfect victory, but a victory nonetheless. And Abraham decided this is the moment. On January 1, 1863, he signed the Emancipation Proclamation. He picked up his pen, and his hand was shaking. Shaking means trembling, moving in a way you can't control. And someone asked him, "Are you nervous?" And he said, "No, my hand is shaking because I've been shaking hands all morning at a reception." But I think, deep down, he was nervous too, because he knew.
He knew this was one of the most important moments in history. With that signature, with that stroke of his pen, he declared millions of people free. But freedom on paper, freedom in words, is not the same as freedom in reality. The war continued. More battles, more deaths, more suffering. And Abraham carried all of it. He visited hospitals. He saw wounded soldiers, young men with missing arms, missing legs, young men dying far from home. And he wept. He cried. He felt their pain. He wrote letters to families who had lost sons, husbands, fathers. And in those letters, you can feel his compassion. You can feel his heart breaking over and over again. There's another story I want to share with you. It's about a woman named Lydia Bixby. In 1864, Abraham received a report that this woman had lost 5 sons in the war. 5 sons. Can you imagine? 5 children gone forever. And Abraham, he sat down and wrote her a letter. He didn't have to do this. He was the president. He had 1,000 things to do. But he did it anyway. He wrote, "I feel how weak and fruitless must be any word of mine which should attempt to beguile you from the grief of a loss so overwhelming." Let me break that down for you. Weak means not strong. Fruitless means without result, without effect. Beguile means to trick or distract. Overwhelming means too much to handle. So he's saying he knows that his words cannot take away her pain. He knows they're not enough, but he writes anyway. He tells her that her sons died to preserve the nation, to keep the country together, and he thanks her. He honors her sacrifice.
Later, historians discovered that maybe not all 5 sons died. Maybe some survived. Maybe some deserted. Deserted means they ran away from the army. But that doesn't change the power of the letter. It doesn't change Abraham's heart. He believed she had lost 5 sons, and he took the time to comfort her. That's who he was, a leader who cared, a leader who felt deeply, a leader who never forgot that behind every number, every statistic, there was a real person, a real family, real grief. Now, let me pause here for a moment, and let's practice together. Let's take some of these beautiful words and say them slowly, carefully, with intention. Are you ready? Take a deep breath with me. Breathe in and breathe out. Good. Now repeat after me, slowly, very slowly. Compassion. Compassion. This means caring deeply about others. Say it again. Compassion. Beautiful. Now this one. Emancipation. Emancipation. This means freedom, liberation. Say it with me. Emancipation. Excellent. One more. Dignity. Dignity. This means being treated with respect, being valued. Say it again. Dignity. Perfect. Later, historians discovered that maybe not all 5 sons died. Maybe some survived. Maybe some deserted. Deserted means they ran away from the army. But that doesn't change the power of the letter. It doesn't change Abraham's heart. He believed she had lost 5 sons, and he took the time to comfort her. That's who he was, a leader who cared, a leader who felt deeply, a leader who never forgot that behind every number, every statistic, there was a real person, a real family, real grief. Now, let me pause here for a moment, and let's practice together. Let's take some of these beautiful words and say them slowly, carefully, with intention. Are you ready? Take a deep breath with me. Breathe in and breathe out. Good. Now repeat after me, slowly, very slowly. Compassion. Compassion. This means caring deeply about others. Say it again. Compassion. Beautiful. Now this one, emancipation. Emancipation. This means freedom, liberation. Say it with me. Emancipation. Excellent. One more. Dignity. Dignity. This means being treated with respect, being valued. Say it again. Dignity. Perfect.
Now, let's put them in sentences. Repeat slowly after me. Take your time, no rush. Abraham Lincoln had great compassion. Abraham Lincoln had great compassion.
Take a breath. Now say it one more time. Abraham Lincoln had great compassion. Beautiful. Next sentence. The Emancipation Proclamation gave freedom to enslaved people. The Emancipation Proclamation gave freedom to enslaved people. Good. Say it again. The Emancipation Proclamation gave freedom to enslaved people. Wonderful. Last one. Every person deserves dignity. Every person deserves dignity. Say it with me. Every person deserves dignity. Perfect. You're doing so well, really. I'm proud of you. I know it's not easy. I know sometimes English feels complicated. Sometimes the words are long. Sometimes the pronunciation is difficult. But you're here. You're trying. You're practicing. And that's what matters. That's what Abraham Lincoln would tell you too. He would say, keep going. Don't give up. You're stronger than you think. Let's continue with his story. The war finally ended in April 1865. 4 long years of fighting, 4 years of death and suffering, and the Union won. The country stayed together. Slavery was ending. The 13th Amendment to the Constitution was being passed. An amendment is a change to the Constitution. The Constitution is the most important legal document in America. And the 13th Amendment said that slavery was illegal forever. No more enslaved people in America. This was Abraham's dream, his life's work, and it was finally happening. On April 9th, 1865, General Robert E. Lee surrendered. Surrendered means he gave up. He stopped fighting. Lee was the leader of the Confederate Army. The Confederate Army was the Southern Army, the army that wanted to keep slavery. And when Lee surrendered to General Ulysses S. Grant, the Union Army leader, the war was essentially over. People celebrated. They danced in the streets. They cried tears of joy. And Abraham, he felt relief, deep relief, but also sadness. Sadness for all the lives lost. Sadness for all the pain. He didn't celebrate with loud parties. He was quiet, thoughtful. He began thinking about the future, about how to heal the nation, about how to bring the country back together. He gave a speech about Reconstruction. Reconstruction means rebuilding, putting things back together. And in this speech, he said something radical. Radical means extreme, different from what people expected. He said that some black men should have the right to vote, the right to participate in government. This was shocking to many people, even people in the North, even people who had fought to end slavery, because racism didn't end with the war. Racism means believing that one race is better than another, treating people differently because of their skin color. And racism was everywhere, North and South. But Abraham, he was moving forward. He was pushing for equality, real equality. But not everyone was happy. There was a man named John Wilkes Booth. He was an actor, a famous actor, but he was also a racist. He hated Abraham Lincoln. He hated that slavery was ending. He hated that black people might get the right to vote. And he decided to do something terrible. He decided to kill the president. On April 14, 1865, just 5 days after the war ended, Abraham Lincoln went to a theater. A theater is a place where people watch plays. This theater was called Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. He went with his wife, Mary. He wanted to relax. He wanted to enjoy an evening. He had worked so hard. He had carried so much weight. He deserved a moment of peace. The play was a comedy. A comedy is a funny play, something to make people laugh. And Abraham, he was laughing. He was finally able to breathe, to feel a moment of happiness. But John Wilkes Booth was there too. He sneaked into the president's box. A box is a special seating area in a theater, a private area where important people sit. And while Abraham was watching the play, while he was laughing, Booth came up behind him. He pulled out a gun and he shot him. He shot Abraham Lincoln in the back of the head. The sound echoed through the theater. People screamed. Booth jumped onto the stage and ran away. And Abraham, he slumped forward, unconscious, dying.
They carried him to a house across the street. They laid him on a bed, but the bed was too short. Abraham was very tall, 6 feet 4 inches. That's about 193 centimeters. So they had to lay him diagonally. Diagonally means at an angle. And doctors came. They tried to help him, but there was nothing they could do. The bullet had damaged his brain too much. And through the night, his family, his friends, his cabinet members, they gathered around him. They held his hand, they prayed, they cried. And at 7:22 in the morning, on April 15, 1865, Abraham Lincoln died. He was 56 years old. The Secretary of War, Edwin Stanton, was there. And when Abraham took his last breath, Stanton said, "Now he belongs to the ages. Now he belongs to the ages." That means his life, his legacy, his impact. They're not just for his time. They're forever, for all of history. And he was right. Abraham Lincoln, a poor boy from a log cabin, became one of the greatest leaders the world has ever known.
Take a moment with me. Just breathe. Feel the weight of this story. Feel the sadness, but also feel the inspiration. Because Abraham's life teaches us something powerful. It teaches us that where you start doesn't determine where you finish. It teaches us that failure is not the end. It's just part of the journey. It teaches us that compassion, honesty, and perseverance, these qualities matter more than anything else. Perseverance means continuing even when things are hard, never giving up. Let me share one more story with you, a personal story, a quieter story. Abraham had 4 sons, but 3 of them died young. His son Eddie died at age 4, his son Willie died at age 11, and his son Tad died at age 18, just a few years after Abraham's death. Only his oldest son Robert lived to be an old man. Can you imagine losing 3 children? The grief, the unbearable pain. And Abraham, he felt it all, deeply. He would go into Willie's room and cry. He would sit there alone and weep. His wife Mary was devastated too. Devastated means completely destroyed emotionally, crushed. And they held each other. They tried to survive together. But grief put a wall between them sometimes, because grief is so personal, so isolating. Abraham dealt with depression his whole life. Depression is a mental illness. It's a deep, persistent sadness, a feeling of hopelessness, a feeling that life has lost its color. And in Abraham's time, people didn't talk about mental health. They didn't understand it. They just said someone was melancholy. Melancholy is an old word for sadness. But Abraham's friends knew. They worried about him. They saw his dark moods, his long silences, his deep sighs. And yet, he kept working. He kept leading. He kept caring about others, even when he was suffering himself. This is something I want you to understand. You can be struggling and still be strong. You can be sad and still help others. You can be imperfect and still make a difference.
Abraham Lincoln was not a perfect man. He had doubts. He had fears. He made mistakes. But he kept trying. He kept growing. He kept moving forward. And that's what made him great. Not perfection, but persistence. Persistence means continuing, refusing to quit. Now, let's practice some more phrases together. These are phrases that capture Abraham's spirit, his heart. Ready? Take a breath. Repeat after me slowly. Never give up. Never give up. Say it again. Never give up. Good. Next one. All people deserve freedom. All people deserve freedom. One more time. All people deserve freedom. Beautiful. Now this phrase, where you start does not define you. Where you start does not define you. Say it again. Where you start does not define you. Perfect. And this important one, your struggles make you stronger. Your struggles make you stronger. One more time. Your struggles make you stronger. Excellent. Last one. Keep going, my friend. Keep going, my friend. Say it with me. Keep going, my friend. Wonderful. You see, these aren't just words about Abraham Lincoln. They're words for you, for your life, for your journey. Because learning English is hard. Living in a new culture is hard. Trying to improve yourself is hard. But you're doing it. You're here. You're listening. You're practicing. And that takes courage. Courage means bravery, the strength to do something difficult even when you're afraid. Abraham Lincoln's legacy is enormous. Legacy means what you leave behind after you're gone, the impact you have on the world. He saved the United States. He ended slavery. He showed that democracy can survive even the worst crisis. Democracy means a government where people have a voice, where people can vote, where freedom matters. And he did all this with grace. Grace means doing things with kindness and dignity, even when he was attacked, even when people called him names, even when newspapers mocked him. Mock means to make fun of someone, to laugh at them in a mean way. He stayed calm, he stayed focused, he stayed kind. There's a famous speech he gave. It's called the Gettysburg Address. Gettysburg was a huge battle in Pennsylvania. And after the battle, they created a cemetery. A cemetery is a place where dead people are buried. And Abraham went there to dedicate it. Dedicate means to officially open it, to honor it. And he gave a short speech, very short, just 272 words. It took about 2 minutes. And at first, people didn't think it was special. The main speaker that day talked for 2 hours. 2 hours. And people thought that speech was better. But Abraham's speech, those 272 words, they became immortal. Immortal means living forever, never dying, never being forgotten. He said something beautiful. He said, "The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here." What he meant was, our words don't matter as much as actions, as sacrifice, as what people actually do. And he was wrong about one thing. The world did remember what he said. Every American child learns that speech. Students around the world study it. Because his words were simple, honest, powerful, just like him.
Let me tell you why I'm sharing this story with you today. It's not just history. It's not just facts about a man who lived long ago. It's a message for you, right now, in your life. You might feel small sometimes. You might feel like you're not making progress. You might look at other people who seem smarter, richer, more successful, and you might think, I'll never be like them. But Abraham Lincoln would tell you, that's okay. You don't need to be like them. You need to be like you, the best version of you. And that takes time. That takes patience. That takes falling down and getting back up, again and again and again. Every time you practice English, even for just 5 minutes, you're doing what Abraham did. You're educating yourself. You're refusing to give up. Every time you make a mistake and try again, you're showing the same courage he showed. Every time you face rejection, disappointment, failure, and you keep going anyway, you're walking the same path he walked. And that path,
It leads somewhere beautiful. It leads to growth, to strength, to becoming someone you're proud of. I want you to know something. I'm proud of you. I don't know you personally. I don't know your name or your face, but I know you're here. I know you're listening. I know you're trying. And that's enough. That's more than enough. You're enough, just as you are, right now, with all your imperfections, with all your struggles, with all your doubts. You're enough, and you're becoming more every single day. Abraham Lincoln believed in something called the better angels of our nature. Better angels means the good part of ourselves, the kind part, the part that wants to help others, that wants to do the right thing, even when it's hard. And he believed that if we listen to that part, if we follow that part, we can overcome anything, any obstacle, any challenge, any darkness. And I believe that about you too. You have better angels inside you. Kindness, strength, determination, and they're guiding you. Even when you can't see it, even when you can't feel it, they're there. So, what do we learn from Abraham Lincoln's life? We learn that our beginning doesn't determine our ending. We learn that failure is temporary. We learn that compassion is power. We learn that persistence beats talent. We learn that honesty builds trust. We learn that even in our darkest moments, we can still shine light for others. We learn that every person, no matter their skin color, their background, their education, deserves dignity, respect, and freedom. And we learn that the journey is long, the journey is hard, but the journey is worth it. Now, before we finish today, I want to practice one more time with you. These are sentences inspired by Abraham's life, and I want you to say them with me. Not just with your mouth, but with your heart, with belief. Ready? Repeat after me, slowly. I will not give up. I will not give up. Say it again. I will not give up. Good. I am stronger than I think. I am stronger than I think. One more time. I am stronger than I think. Beautiful. My struggles are teaching me. My struggles are teaching me. Say it with me. My struggles are teaching me. Perfect. I deserve success. I deserve success. Say it again. I deserve success. Excellent. I will keep learning. I will keep learning. One more time. I will keep learning. Wonderful. And finally, I believe in myself. I believe in myself. Say it with feeling. I believe in myself. Beautiful, my friend. Beautiful. You did so well today. Really. We covered so much together. We walked through the life of a remarkable man, a man who faced poverty, who faced loss, who faced failure after failure after failure, but who never stopped, who never quit, who changed the world. And we practiced English together, slowly, gently, with patience and kindness. And you were brave enough to try, brave enough to be here. I want to ask you something before we go. Will you do something for me? Will you do something for yourself? If this lesson helped you, if it touched your heart, if it made you feel less alone in your journey, please click the like button. It helps other people find these lessons, other people who need encouragement just like you did. And leave a comment. Tell me where you're from. Tell me what you're learning English for. Tell me which part of Abraham's story inspired you most. I read every comment, every single one, and I care about your story. Your journey matters to me. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Motivate to Speak. This channel is all about learning English slowly, with heart, with compassion, with no judgment, just support, just encouragement, just friendship. We're a community here, a family of learners, and I'd love for you to be part of it. Hit that subscribe button. turn on notifications, and join me for the next lesson, because we have so many more stories to explore together, so many more words to learn, so many more moments to share. You know, Abraham Lincoln once said, "The best way to predict your future is to create it. Create it, build it, shape it with your own hands, with your own choices, with your own determination." And that's what you're doing right now, by learning English, by improving yourself, by refusing to give up. You're creating your future. You're building something beautiful, something strong, something that will last. So take what you learned today. Take Abraham's story, take his courage, take his compassion, take his persistence, and carry it with you. When you're tired, remember he was tired too. When you fail, remember he failed many times. When you doubt yourself, remember that a poor boy from a log cabin became president, became a hero, became immortal. Not because he was perfect, but because he never stopped trying. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel your heart beating. Feel the life inside you. You're alive. You're here. You have today. You have this moment. And in this moment, you have the power to choose. To choose hope over despair. To choose effort over giving up. To choose growth over staying the same. And I really hope, that you choose to keep going, to keep learning, to keep believing in yourself. Because you're capable of amazing things. Things you can't even imagine yet. Just like Abraham couldn't imagine, when he was a boy chopping wood in Indiana, that he would one day change the world.
Thank you for being here with me today. Thank you for trusting me with your time. Thank you for being vulnerable enough to learn, to try, to grow. You're incredible. You really are. And I'm honored to be part of your journey. Remember, learning English is not just about words. It's about opening doors, opening opportunities, opening your life to new possibilities. And you're doing it, step by step, word by word, day by day. I believe in you. I believe in your strength. I believe in your future. And I hope you believe in yourself too, because you deserve all the good things that are coming your way. You deserve success. You deserve happiness. You deserve peace. And you deserve to be proud of yourself for showing up, for trying, for being you. See you in the next slow listening lesson, my friend. Until then, be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself, and keep going. Always keep going. Take care of your heart, take care of your mind, and remember, you're not alone. We're in this together. You, me, and the spirit of Abraham Lincoln, reminding us that anything is possible when we refuse to give up. Goodbye for now, and thank you. Thank you for being exactly who you are.